this bloke's certainly earning some brownie points. Hello, welcome to the program. Today we're visiting a family business that's been in operation for 41 years, and like any organisation going that long, has some challenges with generational change. We'll see if we can help out after I've done my delivery. Hello, gang. How are you? Good to see you. Bernard, Barbara, how are you? Must be Avi. What a great business, bringing joy to people's lives every day. It's wonderful.
We're very lucky people.
Yeah, tell us about the business.
Pearson's Florist is a family business. We have 8 stores and the florist school, and we have a great team of people who work with us.
And Barbara, 3rd generation in the business now. That's a great achievement.
Yeah, it's very exciting to have Avi joining the team. Bernard and I have been in the business a long time managing it, and we've got a good balance between us. But I think with Avi coming in, it's an opportunity for us to really reevaluate how we run the business and also how we define our roles, what Avi's skills are, how we can best utilise him and build the business and have a great future.
And Avi, that's important for you, isn't it? Moving into the business.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's been interesting working with family, and I've focused more on the online segment of the business, focusing on website redevelopment. I guess it's at the moment a big black hole, but we're focusing on the future.
And Bernard, I suppose the challenge is how to transition into that 3rd generation. Your parents did it successfully, now it's up to you. Are you finding it hard?
Not so far, but we know we are challenged. And with Avi coming on board, we want to work well together, harmoniously, but work well for the future.
Yeah, and not upset the family either, Barbara, is it? You don't want business tensions affecting family relationships.
And we're very passionate about what we do. We love our business. We've been doing it a long time. We still love flowers. But the most important thing is our relationship. And the business is also a member of the family as well. It's been part of our lives. But we also have a great team of people that have been with us a long time, and we have to respect them as well and their skills. So it's quite a fun balance.
Look, we've got a couple of experts that will be invaluable to you, I reckon. Pippa Hallis from Ella Bachet, big family business. She's done it all before as a new generation coming through. She'll have great advice for you. And Anthony Mitchell from Ben Delta advises family businesses all the time on generational change. So I'll hook you up with both of them. As for the website, we might take you to the big end of town. They've got all the experience, cutting edge. I think you'll learn a lot. How's that?
Fantastic.
Ready to get into it?
Great opportunity.
Well done.
Beauty. As the Director of Strategic Advisory, Ben Delta, Anthony Mitchell has worked with many family businesses on succession plans. One business they've assisted is Ella Bachet, whose Chief Executive, Pippa Hallis, is joining Anthony to share her experiences.
If I put the words to you of an exit plan, how would you describe your exit plan?
We don't have an exit plan. However, as Avi gets stronger, I'm happy to change my role to make way for the next generation.
It's a good question, and it wasn't until Avi started to join the business that it made me even think of what the options are for me and what my role should be. But it's a challenge to try and really now start to define what our goals are more clearly, to give him more confidence in his future and what the opportunities are too.
Yeah, that's right, Barbara. I mean, you're both obviously young, healthy and loving what you're doing. But the reality is that every business should have an exit plan for its owners. Even if it's just a 2-person organisation, or whether it's an organisation that employs 50,000 people. Now, you could plan to be here for the next 20 years or 30 years, but even if it is 30 years away, there should be a plan for that eventual exit.
Really, it's interesting listening to everyone's story here, because, I feel like I'm listening to what I went through probably over the last, 5 or 6 years in the business, and the number of issues that I guess myself and my father, who's the chairman, had to probably formalise during those years, and one of them was a question of obviously succession. One of them was a question of development plan for myself, because I was hungry and I wanted to know where I was going, and whilst we always had formalised plans and strategies, it really forced us to focus on, what our core strengths were as a business, and also, like Avi, understanding what my strengths and weaknesses were. I too had a background in advertising and marketing, and making that transition from, marketing, marketing manager to general manager and then to CEO, understanding what sort of external people I needed to surround myself with who were separate to my family, and also what sort of when to call on my father, when to report to my father, and really formalise some things, because I think it's really benefited us to kind of grow up and do it in our own way. It doesn't mean reams of documents. It just means having some disciplines around the family, the business, and also the ownership of the business.
After the break, developing the skills for succession.
Staff are not particularly enamoured of a CEO who's been anointed just because of bloodline.
This business travel tip is brought to you by Qantas. Save time and check in online at home or in the office before arriving at the airport. Barbara, Bernard and Avi Pollack from Pearson's Florists are meeting with Ella Bachet Chief Executive Pippa Hallis and succession planning expert Anthony Mitchell to get some insights into smoothly transitioning the business into the next generation.
I know that from a personal point of view, your father, the chairman, would have loved to have seen you become the CEO, but I know also that he would have been keen to ensure that you gained the role, not because you were his daughter, but because you were the right person for the role. Where did you find you needed to develop to become the right material for a CEO?
I went through an interview process. I had reference checks. It was quite formal, and I had non-family members manage that process. And then also my progression through the business was managed with external advisors. All my performance reviews are done by someone else. My father's obviously totally privy to all of this, but for me, I was obviously making it really clear to him that I had to be ready. I wanted to do it when I could succeed, and so there was a lot of discussions around how my development plan would take place. Would it be me going and working in the manufacturing environment for a year? Would it be me going and working in a store for a year? Different generations see that differently, because business moves so quickly that you need to be able to have those general skills in a CEO role, but not actually have to know how to do them sometimes.
Did you go and work in the factory or the stores for that time?
I've like you, Avi, I've grown up in the factory. I spent a lot of my childhood years working in the factory, and it's really nice to understand the DNA of the business like that. So you can, it's in your blood. So whether you do have the most formalised, polished strategy in the world, that DNA needs to be captured and then articulated, for I guess, the next generations, but also for employees so they can understand it. So, yeah.
I think that's a very important point. It's also important for your respect and credibility from the people who work here. Staff are not particularly enamoured of a CEO who's been anointed just because of bloodline. They want to see that the person really understands the business.
You have to earn your place, you have to. Otherwise, you need the support of those people in the business, and you need their ideas, and and at times you need them to lead as well. And without them trusting you and having respect for you and having mutual respect, then it makes any sort of succession planning very difficult.
This business building block is brought to you by Westpac.
A successful business plan is the backbone of any organisation. It's vital for staying focused and outlining the next steps for growth. The main aim of a business should be to generate a financial return and to maximise wealth. A plan is needed to achieve this. For an owner, the investment of time, money and hard work should turn into profits, but you need a structured approach. Westpac's Business and Succession Planning short course can help you identify the key short and long-term objectives for your business. The course helps you divide business planning into smaller tasks, so it's easier to figure out what you need to do to achieve your business goals. The course also provides a framework for looking at who might be able to help you within your own team and how to measure their effectiveness. To learn more, take a short course on business and succession planning at Westpac Financial Education. It's a good way to make sure you're planning for your future.
To find out more about Westpac's business and succession planning short course, go to westpac.com.au/businessbuilders. After the break, upgrading an already successful website. Tips from the big end of town as we take Arvi to meet Qantas.com's online expert.
One of the challenges online is actually making what's a very difficult proposition simple.
This competition is brought to you by Qantas. Qantas is celebrating small business with an amazing opportunity. Every week, one business could win $1,000 worth of Qantas flights to use for business travel. How do you enter? Easy. Go to qantas.com/SME and tell us in 25 words or less how Qantas can help manage your business travel. Pearson's Florist has been successfully building their online business for several years. Third-generation family member Avi Pollack wants to upgrade the site, so I've sent him to meet John Lonergan, head of Qantas.com, to get some tips from the big end of town.
It struck me when I did a bit of research to have a look at ordering flowers that there's a plethora of different ways I can do this online. How would you see Pearson's differentiating itself inside that pool?
I guess Pearson's traditionally has differentiated ourselves by being a premium product, by providing excellent customer service. We've always bent over backwards to make sure our customers are happy, to make sure that their needs and wants are met. And moving online, we're looking to replicate that.
It strikes me that's a good market niche to go into. It's not dissimilar to Qantas. I think one of the challenges most businesses face when they move online is how do you balance off the need for the customer to feel that I have access to all the products available and so I don't need to go anywhere else, with just the absolute confusion of having so many options presented. And you have to do that in two ways, I think. You have to streamline the back and get your products quite simple. And then you have to go through your order process and make sure you're showing enough information to the customer at each step in the process so that you're not overloading them with decisions or overloading them with complex things. Just to give you an example, I think Qantas has 40 flights a day between Sydney and Melbourne. So anytime someone wants to go to Melbourne in the morning, back in the afternoon, there's 80 flights to choose from, 5 different fare types on each flight, and then 14 days at a time we show people the price points. So if you look at that, there's 2 million combinations in that. And yet we know by the time customers come to that page, most people can choose their options from that page in less than a couple of minutes. So it's amazing what people can actually process if you've gone to the trouble of making the options simple.
With the website redevelopment that we're looking at, and specifically the navigation side of it, what are some of the do's and don'ts that we should be looking at?
I think one of the important things to remember is that no matter how good your website is, your customers spend more time on other sites than they ever will on yours. So navigation is not an area where you want to be out there and state your claim of being unique, because you really want them focusing on the points of difference that you actually have around the quality of your product, not on how do I actually get around this site. When we do changes to Qantas.com, we base it on customer feedback. So we get emails back from customers asking us how things work or how could they do things. We base it on analytics. We track all the movement around the site and we look at that quite strongly. With fast internet speeds now, people expect a certain level of service and they expect to be able to do things in a certain amount of time. They don't need to spend time learning how your site works. A lot of the traps that people get into is they take their offline copy and their marketing material and they just cut and paste and put it online. Again, you need to do that and then you need to halve it. And then when you think you've halved it, you halve it again, because people don't spend the time reading, they don't have the same ability. So all those things go to making a great website.
This technology building block is brought to you by Telstra Business.
Not every business requires the same communication tools. In fact, the best solutions are often custom-made by someone that understands how your company works. There's more than 60 Telstra business centres all around the country, and their main purpose is to figure out exactly what your business needs. Certified professionals are available to take you through the latest technology solutions and Telstra offers. And in order to tailor the best possible solution for your company, they'll even come out to visit you and see how your business works day to day. Of course, sometimes it's easier to understand technology if you can actually see it working. So it's a good idea to visit your local centre for a demo. It's also comforting to know that each Telstra Business Centre is a small business themselves, so they really do understand your local community and the challenges of growing a small business.
To find out how a Telstra Business Centre can support your small business, visit telstra.com to find your local centre. After the break, tips on family succession and business planning.
Sometimes I'll see business plans that are this thick and they don't necessarily need to be.
This segment is brought to you by Westpac. Planning for succession can be tricky for many family businesses. I've sent in Westpac Senior Business Coach Scott Flaxman and Daniel Nassim, Westpac Financial Planner, to share some insights.
I like the concept of a business plan being simple. Sometimes I'll see business plans that are this thick and they don't necessarily need to be. Having a simple business plan, particularly if you're talking to each other on a regular basis, that's quite often enough. Where it's really helpful to have a written document is in this situation where RV is coming on. So you've got RV or other new people coming into the business. Then having that written articulation of, this is the vision, these are the operating principles, these are the things that happen, and these are the places that we want to take this business, then that makes it a lot easier for someone to pick it up. And from a succession planning point of view, you should always look at treating your business as if it is for sale, even though it's not, because the idea behind that is that you start to get the better value out of it, and business planning is one of the key drivers of that. So what I probably find the biggest challenge of business planning is for any customer, though, for any business, is the actual implementation. It's all well and good to have something written down or have the vision in place, but unless you're physically doing it, it's a work of fiction more so than something that's going to help you. One of the things that you should be looking at is, on the financial side at least, what are some of the things that I can put in place to protect me, or what are some of the things that someone like a banker can help me with to ensure that this plan has the really best chance of success? And that's where someone like Daniel comes in.
When we sit down with our clients and we talk about such strategies, we actually emphasise risk management planning as a part of your overall business planning. And risk management planning can cover things like voluntary exit in the business, i.e. someone retiring, someone selling the business, or involuntary, i.e. someone suffer a major illness, a disability, or death. And it's a very simple tool you can use, which is a buy-sell agreement between shareholders, management agreement to cover those events. And also it's very important to think about funding. How are you going to fund the cash flow and the financial obligation of the business should a key person leave the business, either voluntary or involuntary? It's very important to actually have this sort of contingency planning as a part of your business planning.
And as a final point, I guess, the financial education workshops, and not just from an education point of view where you get the new pieces of knowledge and skills around cash flow and break even and all of those other points, but also the bring your own financials day where we can literally look at your numbers and tie that all in, and that acts as almost a strategy day for the business, which enables you to come in and work through the plan and review it and make sure it's still aligned to what it is that you specifically want to achieve.
To find out more about Westpac's Business and Succession Planning short course, go to westpac.com.au/businessbuilders. How are you guys? Good to see you again. Barbara, how are you? Avi? Now, how did the experts go?
Very good. We had a great time with them and they helped us to focus on how we can plan for the future.
Oh, so Barbara, they've given you a process?
Well, what was interesting is I've always thought of myself as the younger generation, and all of a sudden I realise I'm the older generation. So
isn't that a horrible feeling? It's a midlife crisis. Getting someone from outside in sort of takes a lot of the emotion away, doesn't it? Brings in the discipline.
Yep, it sure does. And now we decided to have a meeting once a month away from the business and with some experts coming in to help us. So it helps us to plan for the future and to make good decisions for the future. And
gives Avi some direction and the whole business, the whole lot. Avi, the website, what are your next steps with that?
It was interesting to see that, why the businesses are so different. the similarities are like just to keep the ordering process simple, keep the website simple, and draw the customers in, and look at the back end as well, look at the analytics, and focus on what's important with the website.
Yep, do it right, because the web is such an important new distribution channel, isn't it? It's incredible. Great for a business like yours.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm glad we could have been of help. So you feel reinvigorated and marching
ready
forward?
to go.
Good,
Yeah.
excellent. Nice to meet you, and we'll keep checking back.
Okay.
Thanks.
Now, if you'd like any more information on today's episode and extra parts of the interviews between our experts and the family that we couldn't squeeze in today, go to the website yahoo7.com.au/small business. While you're there, enter our competition. Courtesy of Qantas, you could win free flights for your business. I'll catch you next time. Next week, we head into the world of fashion and help a young business owner as she takes the big step from retail to manufacture, whilst also expanding her retail offering. And don't forget to go to our website, yahoo7.com.au/small business, for more great video tips and articles.